Get ready to roll.
Get ready to run.
Alright.
Let's go through the startup.
Now, that place you can see is pretty interesting. Let's see, turn that back.
I know the wheel was on the way.
I'm going to move this out of the way so we can see. Okay, when we first come in every day, first thing we're going to do is make sure that we have our adjusting screws turned out. And I already looked, we have an odd size tip. Does anybody know, can tell me what we're going to set those pressures at?
What size tip?
A knot, a zero?
Between 3 and 5 on settling and 20 and 25 on option.
It is what?
Is there 3 to 5 on
35, and then what on?
20 and 25?
Absolutely perfect. Okay. We come in, the first time we're going to use the torch today, we're going to crack. Well, this was cool. Excuse me. I'm going to start over here. Work before I got it, I guess. Okay. We're going to stand over here. We're going to crack the cylinder slowly until the high pressure needle comes to rest. We're going to do the same thing for our settling. We're going to open it up about a half turn. Then I'm going to give it about 20 psi, about 5 on my acetylene. Okay, now I'm going to shut my bottles off just so I can check for leaks. Okay? Now I'm going to take my regulator and I'm going to turn it 1/2 turn backwards. And I'm going to look at all 4 of my needles and see if they drop. If they drop, that gives me an indication I got a leak somewhere, right? Okay? Everything looks good. I'm going to open them back up, go get ready to work. My acetylene is going to be 1/2 turn. My oxygen, I'm going to open up all the way. Now, remember we've set this, but I also backed them off. So, I'm going to have to open it up, get the acetylene flowing. I'm going to set it, I set it at 5. Okay, so I've done 2 things now. I've, number 1, checked to make sure that my needle stays where it is with the gas flowing. I've also now purged my gas line, right? Okay, oxygen, same thing. Remember we backed it off. I'm going to bring it up. 25, 30. I'm purging my torch, and I'm going to shut it off. So now I should be ready to go. So I'm going to crack my acetylene, and I'm going to take my striker to the side. See all that Black City smoke? You want to get rid of that. Okay, I don't want to fill your thing up with little floaters, your room. So we're going to crack it. Light it, continue to open it up, get rid of that Black City smoke. If I give it too much, see the flame jump off the tip? That's too much flow. So I need to reattach it. Need to walk it down, reattach it. Get rid of the Black City smoke, open up my oxygen till I get a nice, those 2 blue flames come together. Then I'm going to depress and hold my cutting oxygen lever, readjust my oxygen if I need to. At this point, I can also check my tip. I can look and see if I have my preheat flames come out at an angle. If I have a good tip, you can see this black line through there, that's our oxygen stream. Remember we talked about in there, oxygen is what's doing the cutting. If I don't have a good, smooth column, there's no way you can ever make a good cut. Because that oxygen, anything it touches as it goes through there is what's oxidizing the steel. Get ready to shut off. I'm going to turn off my oxygen, turn off my acetylene. I didn't hear a pop. I didn't have an orange flame stuck to the tip. So now I know that my torch is good, don't have any issues. I get ready to shut down for the day. I'm going to turn my regulators or my bottles off. Turn it down, and I'm going to drain each one. So the needles come to rest. Close my valve and turn my adjusting screws out. Now I've properly lit and shut down my torch, put everything up, and we're good to go. Questions to this point? Come in. All right, I'm going to be smarter than these. Yes, they pull back. Which way do you check them or do you pull back? Sorry, I lost my train of thought. When we were talking about the cutting, we call it the laminar flow, which is that stream of oxygen that comes out there. What we're really looking for, and a lot of people don't like to spend the money for a Victor tip, because a Victor tip costs more to manufacture the way we do it. We don't just drill the holes in the end of the tip, and we use a special beryllium copper, which is harder than most of the Chinese and the imported tips, but we swage that tip so that inner cutting orifice is glass smooth. If you look at the stinger on a Victor, a genuine Victor tip, it is very long and it's very tight and concise going up and down there. The difference is kind of like putting your finger over the end of the garden hose. It kind of sprays. So make sure your tips are clean. They look that they operate good, and you should have a lot better luck or a lot luck having good quality cuts. What I'm going to do next, if I can get these off. There we go. Is I'm going to show how easy it is to get reverse flow. Okay, we talked a lot about that in there, right? Okay, I am going to take a torch that does not have any check valves built into it. Okay, and I'm going to simulate running out of oxygen by leaving the oxygen hose off. Okay, so I'm cracking the oxygen or opening the acetylene. And I'm going to give it about 5 psi, which is where I would set it. I'm going to purge my torch, and we're going to light it. Everybody agree that's about where I'd have my acetylene set? Okay? We're going to pretend that I got my oxygen hose hooked up, and I start running out of oxygen when my pressure drops too low or something happens to the regulator. A lot of different things can happen. I don't have a check valve. Okay? My valve would be open, right? You don't have a change. It is almost instantaneous. About as fast as I can operate, I get reverse flow. gas is still flowing, and that gas would make it all the way back up to the regulator. Check valves are extremely, extremely important. Now, we also talked in there that if we have a check valve and we have a flash valve, while I'm getting this ready, I'm going to talk about the three different types of things that can occur. A backfire, a sustained backfire, and a flashback. Okay? You'll hear all three of those things possibly mentioned at some point. You need to know, I feel like you need to know what the difference between the three is. A backfire is when the torch pops and it burns back to the point where the gas is mixed. Remember the cutting attachment where we had the mixer inside there where we showed where the gas is mixed? It will burn back to that point. The fire may or may not go out. A sustained backfire is the continuation of it burning back inside the torch, and it is signified by a rapid series of popping and or a whistle. Okay, if you have a torch and all of a sudden you hear this, okay, that's it burning back inside to the mixer. In any case, we want to make sure we shut our torch down immediately, and we always turn the oxygen off first. We remove oxygen from inside the torch. A flashback. In order for a flashback to occur, you must have reverse flow. And what a flashback does is it will burn back inside the torch, but because we've had reverse flow, we've got mixed gas back past the point where they're mixed. Okay? We've had the reverse flow, which we just demonstrated, and it goes in further back into the torch. That is a flashback. Okay? It's signified by a much larger pump. Okay? It may, if you don't have the proper safety, it may come all the way back to the bottom. All right. Any questions on that? While I'm doing this, does anybody wear hearing aids? You want to take them out or turn them off? Or leave? That's your choice, because we're going to make a loud noise, and I'm told that that is very uncomfortable. Anybody else? So we'll give you a minute and show us. Tell me what you have. Are you doing what I think you're doing?
Yeah.
That is wild.
Pretty loud. Bluetooth.
We'll talk. After. Hey, we'll let you turn it back on. Okay. You guys want to come around here? Okay. What I've got is a standard welding nozzle. It's just a smaller version of what you have right here. Okay. Got my oxygen settling set. I'm going to purge each gas. Did I turn that on? No. That's real good for the camera. Rookie. Okay, so purge each gas. And I'm going to set a neutral flame on here. Okay? The only thing I've added is a ball valve so I can shut my gases off without adjusting my mixture. So, purge it, reattach it, get rid of the black sooty smoke, turn on our oxygen. We've got a neutral flame. and now I'm going to turn my gases on. Okay, I've left that nice little mixture. I'm going to hook up the infamous rubber hose. And I'm going to turn it on. I'm going to get the mixed gas flowing. This is a flash arrestor. Okay, this is going to put out a fire. We've got a Lexan tube, and we have a check valve. This check valve lets gas only flow out the end of the copper tube. If you don't believe that that's a check valve, anybody's very willing to come up here and blow on there and see if it works. No takers. Okay, so we're going to turn the gases on. We're going to light it. We're going to create a flashback, and we're going to show that the fire is jumping through an open check valve, through the Lexan tube, and hopefully we'll put it out in the flash arrest. Okay, you ready? Fire in the hole! Okay, it's in the book, but I'll tell you, the flame velocity of oxygen in acetylene is 22.7 feet per second.
Not gonna be one of those for 4th of July.
50-foot hose, that gives me just a little over 2 seconds to bend over and kiss my you-know-what goodbye. Because you ain't gonna get far. I'm too fat to run too far, fast. Questions?
So when you like that, you hear that noise, you need to shut it off and use it.
Absolutely.
That says that you got a leak or.
This was a flashback, okay? When you hear just a pop, could be a backfire or a sustained backfire. Either case, we want to turn our torch off. That could be caused from a lot of different things. You may have gotten the tip too close. We may have in a confined space and we've preheated the head and we're getting some ignition. We probably have the wrong pressures set or the wrong flow for the tip and the length of hose. Then there's a lot of reasons that we can have that backed up. We may be cutting into, which you guys do, into a pipe, and it may have pressure in it that is releasing, and it'll blow back up, and sometimes it'll pop for you. It'll restrict that, so then it'll do that. If it's a sustained backfire, pop, 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 or you hear a whistle, turn the oxygen off first thing. If it just has one little pop, you're probably okay. If it keeps doing it, you need to figure out why. Okay? A lot of times that's just a thing, you've got your tip too close to the water. Or we're trying to pierce and stuff's blowing back at the tip. Okay? Great question. Anybody else? Guys, thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
I got it already.